Well, in Joe Biden's America, we now have armed IRS agents and scared FBI agents who will break into your home unannounced under the guise of one thing when in reality they're trying to do something else and then have it all implode and blow up on them. Welcome to Biden's America.
Oh, that IRS! I can't believe it, you just shot at him!
So the new tax and spend bill that is being presented as the Inflation Reduction Act, the new, I was going to call it Mansion, but maybe Manchurian is a better name. The new Mansion spending plan accounts for the hiring of 87,000 additional IRS agents. Now, of course, they keep telling you this is not going to affect the middle class. This is not going to affect the poor. This is not going to affect the working class. Really? They need 87,000 more agents to go after the billionaires who are not paying their fair share. Give me a break. And you do understand. I know I shouldn't have to explain this to this audience, but occasionally we do get members of the liberal persuasion who pop over onto channels like this one to find out what, quote, the other side, the opposition, is saying. You do understand there is no such thing as the quote unquote corporations or the job creators actually absorbing the tax hit, right? You understand that when their taxes go up, you pay for it. You pay for it in the goods and the services. You pay for it in the transportation of getting those goods and services to the store, to your front door. You will ultimately pay for the tax increase. You understand that, right? You figured that all out, right? But why would the IRS actually have to arm their agents? And the fact that they need to be willing to discharge the weapon if the situation should call for it. I'm sorry. That is just a meme creator's dream. Scenes in movies where IRS agents are armed are always seen by people as like, why does an IRS agent need a gun, especially a really big gun? And it just plays into all of the stereotypical jokes of they're coming to rob you. They're coming to take what's yours and call it theirs. And you have the IRS actually putting out on their own website that the new agents need to be proficient in firearms, will be carrying, and willing to discharge the weapon. My, oh my, how we have changed from 2 summers ago when you had Democrats wanting to disarm police. But now we're perfectly willing to arm the arm of the federal treasury to make sure they get every single penny they can, even if it is now literally at gunpoint. I want you to think about this. Think about this concept. We will hire 87,000 armed IRS agents, but we won't hire 87,000 armed security to protect our nation's schools. That's a bad idea. That's bad. Can't have that. Can't have armed security at schools. Why? Then what would the gunmen who come in there and want to wreak havoc? They might get stopped dead in their tracks. Yeah, that is the general idea. Because again, every other major public venue has security. You go to a concert. You go to a professional sporting event. You know what they have there? Armed security. Why? Mass amount of people there to enjoy a good time. They are usually all disarmed. That becomes a ripe setting for some lunatic to walk in there and want to wreak and create some havoc. The reason they don't in those venues and in those settings, you know why? Because there's some armed security present, that the idea that they can't just walk in there and hunt fish in a barrel, because they might get shot back at. So we leave the most vulnerable of our citizens, school-age children, unsecured, unprotected, and then wonder why bad things happen. They want to take your AR-15 and give it now to an IRS agent. Are you wrapping your head around any of this? And some of you that, I'm going to protect my assets. I'm buying gold. Great. You do know that the Treasury keeps a record of every gold coin, every piece of gold that actually gets sold. So when they do the flip of the monetary system from cash to digital, you say, but I've got my gold, I'm protected. Hi, we're from the Department of Internal Revenue. Hand over the gold. We have a record. Sink in a little bit. Just a wee skosh, a tad. Sink in. You got to give it to Joe Biden. He can blame it on dementia, or you can blame it on the fact that, he doesn't really control anything. He's just the puppet on the string and the puppet masters. But they are hammer down going for broke. Now they've got their PR people out there trying to convince you that, it is no longer going to be a red tsunami this midterm election. Why, Joe Biden has turned things around. Inflation is down, supply chains are coming back, and the price of gas, it's under $4 a gallon now. It was under $2 a gallon under Donald Trump. You guys have got a ways to go. I told you weeks ago, this is what the summer going into the early fall was going to look like. They were going to create the illusion, and they wanted you to feel like, economically anyway, things were getting better. But I promise you, the day after the midterm elections, no matter the result, they will make up for lost time. You'll be paying $8 a gallon. And you'll see inflation like you've never seen. So don't be fooled. Don't be duped. And you ought to be concerned. 87,000 IRS agents. New ones. More. Think about a packed football stadium that seats 86,000 people. The 87,000 IRS agents they're hiring would not fit in that stadium. Since the raid on Mar-a-Lago, the FBI has a PR problem. You think? The Biden administration has a PR problem. You think? Once again, they oversold it. Remember, Donald Trump had boxes that they took out of there. 5 boxes labeled top secret. Just because a document was top secret doesn't mean that it still is. Yeah, you conservatives, you got that one talking point that the president can declassify anything. Well, he can, but it isn't just that. When the president is going to go somewhere, the route that he's going to take for security reasons is top secret. It's written out. The security detail has a copy of it. The protection of the president is well aware of what the route is so that they can safeguard him. But when the trip is over, guess what? That document is no longer top secret. You know why? Trip already happened. People already saw the presidential caravan coming down the street, coming through the neighborhood. They came out, they waved, they had their little flags, they had their little Trump signs. Once the trip is over, the paper trail of the route is no longer top secret. And if Trump had a bunch of boxes of stuff like that, which apparently that's exactly what it is, stuff like that. They took menus from presidential dinners. I stick by my guns from the other day. I think Trump set him up. I think he knew full well they were jonesing for a reason to storm the gates. And again, their motive in thinking was nothing about nuclear codes. I mean, the media went wild with that for about 2 days and then realized, okay, that was lame. That wasn't going anywhere. And notice how the media never gets called out for fact-checked for false information. In fact, you can still go on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter and find from 2 weeks ago, MSNBC, CNN, etc. You can find all their tweets and clips and video segments on, host after host after host talking about Donald Trump had the nuclear codes. Donald Trump has the names of all of our spy assets in all of the foreign countries. I mean, this is all of the things that he's been accused of that has blown up in the FBI's face, because even Bill Maher, who is certainly no Donald Trump supporter or fan, said, hey, look, what you guys did, the theater of it, the optics of it, you better have something big, because if you don't, you have just ensured the re-election of Donald Trump. Bum, ba-dum, bum. I'm telling you, he set him up. He gave them an informant that was telling them he's got top secret stuff he's not supposed to have in his safe. I think when they opened the safe, there's some reports it was empty. I don't think it was empty. I'll bet there were pictures off Hunter's laptop in there just to goad the FBI and the Biden White House. You imagine opening that safe, thinking they are going to find top secret documents, thinking they are going to find information about his directives to the Proud Boys and other groups to lead an insurrection on January the 6th. And they open that safe and there are pictures of Hunter Biden smoking crack and having his brother's wife between his legs. And it might have even been signed by the Trump himself. Hey, Joe, love Don. I'm telling you, they walked into this one, which is why all of a sudden now they have gone to a judge and there's going to be a hearing, because it was Trump who said, go ahead, release the warrant. Let people see it. Because that was another talking point the liberals had for days. He doesn't want us to see the warrant. He said, absolutely, I want you to see the warrant. Now he wants them to release the affidavit, which shows the list of everything they took, the itemized list, which now all of a sudden, even after Merrick Garland promised full disclosure, we're going to give this to the American people. Now the Department of Justice saying we can't do that because of top secret, blah, 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 national security, blah, 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 blah. You got Donald Trump saying, release it. Release it. In other words, I have nothing to hide. This whole thing, the January 6th hearings, a nothing burger, like the Russian collusion. It is literally blowing up and imploding on them. You got Liz Cheney out there right now begging Democrats to come vote for her in Wyoming. The FBI is releasing stories about there's a potential threat of a dirty bomb. Yes, some rube, redneck, ultra-MAGA Trump supporter in his basement has built a nuclear bomb and he's going to blow up the FBI headquarters. No, this is actually circulating in the lying legacy corporate corrupt mainstream media. Wait a minute. I thought these rubes didn't have enough brain cells to tie their own shoes, yet now they're nuclear physicists? And where exactly would they get the materials to build this dirty bomb? At the farm and tractor store? See, the FBI wants you to feel sorry for them. We're being threatened. There was some crazo who, was it with a knife or a machete, tried to break into the FBI building in Cincinnati. See, they want you to think we're under threat now. We're under threat from these crazo Trump people. Because I told you, part of their motivation in doing what they're doing is not just in stopping Donald Trump from being able to run for president again. And they were on a fishing expedition. They took Trump's bait. They went in there under the guise of the Espionage Act. They went in there hoping to find something to connect him to January 6th or the real proof that they've never been able to lay their eyes on about Russian collusion. And they came up with nothing. They got nothing. And so now they want you to think that the crazos are after him, because that's their other goal, is to somehow get us to do stupid and be violent. And that's why I keep saying, and I keep telling you, don't do stupid. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. So we shall see. We've got an armed IRS, a scared FBI, which really, I've said it before and I will say it again, it ought to chill every American that we have this gulag police state that can just kick your door in. Because if they can do it to the president, they can do it to you. And that is resonating with the American people. Despite all of the false news stories out there in the Washington Post that, oh, Trump being front and center again, this is bad for Republicans. They are now not going to take back the House and the Senate during the midterm elections, yada, 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 that people really believe this should have happened. And no, once again, you've overhyped it, you've oversold it, you're coming up with nothing, and the American people are not buying it. And the independents are pulling hard for Republicans. You are losing the Latino vote. By the way, they really don't like being called Latinx. Have you figured that out yet? You're losing the normal people within your party who are tired of having wokeism and transgender bullhock shoved down their throat night and day. And no, we don't need any help from you of what we ought to say and how we ought to moderate our message and dump Trump for DeSantis, because that's just not going to work. Because we know you're not trying to help us in the least. And your great fear is that Donald Trump, the Teflon Don, returns to the Oval Office, because this time he absolutely